Ball Super is a way better sequel than Dragon Ball GT, and that's because I get to say this aloud. Vegeta was battling against Magetta, the lava-spewing Metal Man robot, who attacks by farting and then igniting those farts with a beam of pure lava which explodes in Vegeta's face. This episode was awesome. The battle between Vegeta and Magetta is so unique for the series, and already my favorite battle from the Dragon Ball Super series. Magetta himself is just so freaking lovable, especially by the end of the episode when he's actually crying after he has been defeated by Vegeta. But I just love all the crazy noises he makes. Shoo! Bop bop. But this week's episode of Dragon Ball Super was just classic, my friends. Classic because we got to see some really awesome moves from Vegeta, some of which are going to look incredibly familiar. We get to see the return of the Gallic Gun, a move that honestly we haven't seen in quite some time, and a move that was made famous when Goku fought against Vegeta for the very first time. And when we see it in action in this episode, it's so damn cool looking, especially the way he powers it up. It's such a unique, weird pose, the way he sort of like contorts his arms and gets ready to throw this move, which he doesn't even announce. He just throws it out of nowhere to try and catch Magetta off guard. But Magetta ends up using this other crazy ability where he spews his lava at the attack, which actually ends up solidifying the beam, basically turning it into this giant rock club that Magetta uses to try and knock Vegeta out of the ring, who nearly looks like he lost in this episode. It looks like his foot was just touching the outside of the ring, but no, according to the announcer, he was actually standing on this crumbled piece of the arena, which is still technically a part of the ring, so he was allowed to come back in the fight. However, because Vegeta had to come back in because of the rules, he was freaking pissed. The pride of the Prince of the Saiyans, blah 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 blah. It doesn't matter, it's freaking awesome. This pumps you up so much because you know Vegeta is about to go completely all out. First, before delivering this amazingly devastating attack to Magetta, he decides he's just going to power up, and he powers up so much that he actually ends up destroying the barrier that was created by Vados, which allows all of the heat that Magetta's body has been generating to finally dissipate, allowing Vegeta to fight at his most powerful. And that's when he uses arguably his most devastating technique, the Final Flash. That's right, he finally comes back, does the classic moves. I love that Krillin actually reacts to this. It reminds me of the time that he was reacting when he saw the move for the first time. Vegeta, you're gonna destroy us all! And so Vegeta, without warning, just sends the attack flying right into Magetta, which just completely rocks his world, allowing Vegeta to get in even closer, delivering one final punch, which ends up destroying the ring beneath Magetta, allowing him to fall outside in the ring, losing the match. Not only that, but Vegeta actually managed to win because he got under Magetta's skin by calling him a piece of junk. According to Whis, apparently, the Metal Man race can be easily defeated if you deliver the perfect insult to them. They basically lose the will to fight. And at the end of this match, you get to see that he's hanging out on Champa's side, and he's crying, being consoled by Botamo, and you just can't help but feel bad for the big lug. So this was a pretty freaking awesome episode right here. The next one I think is going to be even crazier because it looks like Vegeta is going to be going up against the Saiyan from Universe 6, Kabe. That's right. And I know that he's pronounced Kabe because they say that in the preview for the next episode. It's not Kaba or Kiabe. Maybe it is Kiabe, but I'm going to say Kabe. I want to see more of this guy, and we're definitely going to see it in the next episode. Basically, it looks like Vegeta's finally going to go Super Saiyan Blue. He's actually going to have to pull out that power against Kabe, who apparently, in the preview anyway, has the ability to go Super Saiyan, and maybe even a form that we haven't seen quite yet, because you can see this like fire that's in his eyes. Maybe the Universe 6 Saiyans have like this ability that we don't know of. Maybe they can go into God mode. All I know is I'm freaking excited for next week's episode. It is going to be great. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of Dragon Ball Super? This is my favorite episode from the series thus far. The best thing is that the animation is getting better, the artwork is definitely getting a lot better, and this is just a really cool classic episode of Dragon Ball Super to me. It really feels like I'm watching an old Dragon Ball episode because you have all the classic characters there. Hell, there's even a scene where Bulma is beating the crap out of Oolong. That happened happened all the time when she was watching Goku, Krillin, and Yamcha fight. There's also just a lot of little moments in this episode that I think are great. Like I said, that big fart explosion attack that Magetta does is just ridiculous. The fact that this thing actually has the ability to fart is just crazy to think about. And it even makes like this big ridiculous noise, but he actually uses it to his advantage, which actually ends up putting Vegeta almost against the barrier. It nearly pushes him right to it, and there's a great tense scene where he tries to stop himself with a ki blast. It's really damn awesome watching him constantly have to worry about actually hitting the walls until finally he's like, you know what? Final flash and a big punch, this guy is completely screwed. I also still love the fact that he still doesn't want to use his god abilities yet. He knew that he could finish off Magetta with just his Super Saiyan powers, and it makes sense. I didn't think Magetta was going to be like the end-all, be-all fighter from Universe 6, but I still really enjoyed watching him fight, and he's definitely been my favorite fight from the series, mostly just due to the whole unique factor of it all. That and the fact that it just looked really awesome, especially that big final punch from Vegeta, that was great. And the scene when he destroyed the barrier, how it shattered into glass, how all the characters were dodging it, and Hito just ends up grabbing it with his eyes closed. Oh, that guy is so awesome. Not to mention, Vegeta and Goku actually notice, like, Hito, he's the guy we gotta look out for. He's the one who's gonna be really powerful and might even be an even bigger threat than we realize. And then there's Monaka. Monaka just sort of sits there, like he always does. He's just sitting there, doing nothing, as all of this glass nearly impales him from multiple directions. I don't know what's up with this guy. He's probably weaker than Beerus is actually letting on, but I still want to have a lot of hope for this character because you can't judge a book by its covers, especially a cover that has really big nipples. So yes, to me personally, this was the best episode of Dragon Ball Super. It was a really exciting battle. Vegeta fans are going to love the nostalgia factor from it. They're going to love how awesome he is in this episode. Magetta is a unique fighter. He's got some really cool abilities and a lot of goofy personality from all the crazy noises that he makes. This was a fun, fantastic, and downright classic episode of Dragon Ball Super. And that's why I'm going to give this week's episode a 5 out of 5. Check it out, Dragon Ball fans. You might see something you like. So I loved this week's episode of Dragon Ball Super, but what about you guys? I want to hear from you. What did you think of the battle between Vegeta and Magetta? Did you like it as much as I did? Did you not really like this episode that much? What was your favorite scene from this episode? And what do you want to see in the battle between Vegeta and Kabe? Who is going to win? And does Kabe have a secret form that we don't know about? What do you want to see from the rest of Dragon Ball Super? Please tell me in the comment section below. You guys are freaking awesome. Thank you for watching this review. I really appreciate it. If you would like to, please subscribe to the channel. That way you'll be able to see all of our latest anime and manga reviews as soon as they're released. You guys can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff. It's in the description box below. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby.